All right, we're back. We are reading Almost Odis by me, Dusty Thompson. You can buy this on Amazon. And I was just thinking today, it turned off cold and rainy for the last 2 days here, which has been great. I've been watching the British murder mysteries, and it's a lot of rain in there as well. And I was thinking, if you like murder mysteries, I wrote a murder mystery probably 11 years ago, I think, called A Gone Pecan. It's set in Mississippi. You can also get it on Amazon as well. Ignore all the typos. I'm embarrassed to admit that they're there, but I think you'll enjoy it. So we are on page 63, and we are on the blog dated Sunday, December 11th, 2011, called Sweeter Than a Turkey? Question mark. I was in Maine a few weeks ago, lunching at a cute little overpriced bistro called the Salt Lick, which sounds more country than I would have imagined in southern Maine. Although, if I were being honest, I always felt Maine was a lot like Mississippi with snow when I lived in nearby Massachusetts several years ago. They do have rednecks in other places besides the South. Normally, I don't answer the phone when it rings, as it is rude, in my opinion, to do so while dining. However, seeing as how the dad had been left on his own devices in California while I was gone, I immediately answered, hoping the query would be mundane and not involve anyone who had taken an oath either Hippocratic or to serve and protect. "Where's your stew softener?" he bellowed into the phone loud enough that my table mates could hear him without the utilization of the speakerphone option. "I don't have that," I said, at once disgusted and desperate to erase the picture forming in my mind. "What is the problem?" "I haven't dirtied in about 6 days, he yelled, deciding I want this conversation to end post-haste or even faster. I took the bull by the horns and proceeded to say in one breath, "That's not true. I have been gone for 6 days, and I can assure you you've never missed a day. I don't use it. I don't need it. I'm lucky. That's rude. You need to go across the street to the grocery store. Yes, the Mexican one, and buy the product if you are in that great of a need. And yes, they speak English. No, I don't know how to say softener in Spanish. That's almost racist. Why are you talking so loud? Unless you or the house are on fire. I have to go because I'm eating, remember, I'm 3 hours ahead of you. No, you shouldn't eat lunch yet. It's not noon where you are. Yes, it's good, but you wouldn't like it because it's sort of fancy. Yes, I'll probably have lobster tonight. I know you would eat one the size of a small dog, and I promise I'll call you later tonight. Love you, bye." Good thing I played trumpet in band all through school. Circle breathing does wonders in all sorts of situations. This is just another example of my father's inability to do anything quietly or discreetly. He has no issue discussing his many bodily functions regardless of our location or relationship with those within earshot. And if you know the dad, everyone is within earshot. And I mean everyone. The dad, his hearing has gotten worse over the years, and now he feels sure you can only hear him if he can hear himself. And don't bother asking him to whisper, as he doesn't understand the concept. His version of whispering is him lowering his speaking voice in an octave, but with no discernible change in volume. For real, he'll be like, "Hey, JD," and I'll say, "Diddy, whisper." "Hey, JD." That's him whispering. This poses no issue at home, but becomes somewhat nerve-wracking when we are out and about like this morning. We were eating at our favorite brunch spot, and as he had decimated his eggs and sausage with biscuits and gravy much more quickly than I was eating my food, he became bored and began to comment on everyone around us. Under normal circumstances, this is normally what we do. But then he started saying things like, "That old man with the jiggling legs and the shaky arms sure is eating a bunch. I wonder how much longer he's going to live. He looks old as Methuselah." Or, "That Mexican," which is redneck for Hispanic, "lady sure is being a turd. She's arguing with that waiter about the table. She ought to sit her bubble let down somewhere." And it wasn't so much I disagreed with what he said. That old man was 130 if he was a day. He looked like he had done his student teaching when Adam and Eve were in pre-K. And the woman, whose butt did in fact resemble a large bubble, was being extremely rude, but it's just not polite to say those things out loud. A good Baptist does it in the confines of their house, or at least in the fellowship hall at church. He may have been confused because of the food. You know the rule: if gossip is shared over breakfast items or a cheese-covered casserole, it's called fellowship. And all God's children said amen. For those Southern Baptists who are offended by what I just said, please refrain from talking about me until you can do it in a group with food, and have a proper prayer circle about the condition of my soul now that I live in the land of the heathen. So saith the shepherd, so saith the flock. Can I get it up? What? Ooh, amen, y'all. Sorry, Southern Baptists, but it's true. My father is still in denial about where he now lives. He realizes California is not Alabama, but he doesn't understand why it can't be. Por ejemplo, which is Spanish. We went in search of meatloaf yesterday, and when I found it plus lemon icebox pie, he didn't seem surprised, although I was. He seemed only to be concerned about the lack of available sweet tea. I informed him outside of the South you can't get sweet tea unless it's fruit flavor, and even then it's, oh my God, it's like drinking candy. It's terrible. Even in the South, sometimes you can't get sweet tea. Of course, what I do know, what do I know, seeing as I've only lived outside of the South since 2002 and he hasn't? Every time we go to a restaurant, he orders sweet tea and has one of two reactions. If they say they don't have it, he questions their right to live in America and breathe the same free air. If they say they have it and he orders it and it's fruit flavored, he seems surprised and loudly questions the Americanness of the entire dining establishment and adjacent stores in the strip mall. Prior to leaving for my trip, I cooked up a storm to ensure he had enough pre-made meals to get him through a nuclear winter, or at least the 8 days I would be gone. If I give him enough meatloaf, taters, and greens, he seems to not notice there is no sweet tea and he feels much more at home. When I returned, I found that he had not eaten all the food I made. Apparently, he had grown tired of eating the fried turkey dinners I had also made from Thanksgiving, and noticed several contraband Chinese takeout containers and a fortune cookie in the garbage when I emptied it into the bin. Apparently, he had ventured out from the house. When I questioned the containers, he insisted that he had only gone to the Mexican grocery store and had ventured no further. He said he guessed the containers were left over from the previous tenants, although I have lived here since June and he since September. So the battle continues in our fight for his health. He swears I'm trying to starve him. Today we ate brunch around 9:30. At 11, he said, "It's time for dinner." My response was, it might in fact be 11 o'clock, but he had only recently eaten, and there was no way he was actually hungry, adding, "You haven't truly been hungry since sometime around 1957, with this look on my face. He said, "Way you starve me, people gonna be able to count my ribs pretty soon." I replied it would only be at a barbecue joint, as his body's ribs were firmly encased in several layers of pudge, and then I poked his belly, which makes him giggle uncontrollably. It's hilarious. After he made a strange announcement at brunch, I began to wonder if he had frequented the donut shop across the street. As you know, when the dad has done something he shouldn't, he makes random statements to the effect that he has in fact not done something. When he announced apropos of nothing he had not eaten any donuts while I was gone, I immediately became suspicious and skimmed his diabetic diary entries he keeps for his doctor. I noticed several spikes in several days. When I questioned one particular spike from 130 to 253 over the course of 4 hours one day, he spent considerable time trying to convince me the turkey had caused the increase, and this was the reason he didn't eat the rest of it. Silly me, how did I not know turkey was a dessert? All right, we'll see you next time.